School is back in session for more than just students.
We basically have 2 assessed values for every property.
Why even a math teacher will find it difficult to figure out your property tax bill. Figuring out what a Kamala Harris presidency would mean for Coloradans. Tonight, what her record as a prosecutor suggests about her crime and justice priorities. Members of the Colorado Republican Party will try once again to remove the head of the Colorado Republican Party in a meeting that still will not be recognized as official. And the best things take time.
Those took 16 hours, 25 pork butts. You're gonna go right down the gullet.
Pork butts. What a way to end the week. Next. It's a brief end of summer break for state lawmakers. Monday begins a special session to change property tax math again. Let's be clear about a few things. Your property tax bill will still go up, just not as much as if lawmakers stayed home. And more importantly, this special session is not because lawmakers want to reduce your increase a little. It's to keep 2 property tax ballot issues from appearing on November's ballot. Those ballot issues would limit property tax increases in the future. One of the ballot issues, if passed, could cost the state $2 to $3 billion, money required to backfill local governments and school districts that would be getting fewer dollars from you. So lawmakers are coming back to work to reduce your tax increases a little more. In exchange, the conservative group behind those 2 ballot issues will remove them from the ballot. In a Property Tax Commission meeting today, Ann Terry, director of the Special District Association, warned that without a better backfill solution from lawmakers, the lack of funding would be catastrophic for rural hospital districts in Yuma and Meeker, and that libraries and parks and rec districts in several counties would have to cut services.
We have to figure out a way, if we're going to make these cuts, to make this deal happen, to backfill these districts, or we're going to see the things we love about Colorado, the reasons people want to live here and thrive and build their families here, go away.
Earlier this year, lawmakers reduced your increase in property tax by changing the way it's calculated. One of the changes was creating one math equation for school districts and a different equation for other local governments that receive your property tax dollars. Today, Weld County Assessor Brenda Donis warned that assessors in all 64 counties may use different software, and being accurate with the new math requires funding the state should provide.
We will no longer have a single assessed value for every property. We basically have 2 assessed values for every property, and our software was not originally programmed to manage that. We cannot do our jobs without good software.
The only way the special session is successful is if lawmakers agree to the framework of a deal made between the governor's office, the conservative group behind the ballot issues, and several lawmakers, which means the lawmakers and the public who were left out of that process could create some roadblocks. The special session starts 10 a.m. Monday, and it has to last at least 3 days for a bill to go to the governor's desk. Speaking of the governor, Jared Polis was at the Democratic National Convention, where Kyle caught up with him to ask about how renters will benefit from a special session that will see their landlord's property tax bill still go up, just not as much as without lawmaker action.
When landlords have their taxes increased, just like if they have anything increased, utilities, whatever it is, they're going to pass that along to renters. And so that's one of the many factors that's leading to the tight rental market in Colorado. But again, the primary one is lack of supply, lack of housing, and that's why that's the main focus of our efforts.
I think people understand that. I think they instinctively understand that when landlords pay more in taxes, that'll get passed along. I think they doubt that if landlords pay less in taxes, that somehow their rent is going to go down or stabilize, right?
I mean, when landlords pay more in anything, I mean, property taxes are not unique. Any expense that they're paying, they are effectively going to be passing along to their tenants. But again, the main problem here, I'll be the first to say, of course we want to provide property tax relief, but the main problem is the lack of affordability of the house itself, whether it's rent or purchase. And so that's why a lot of our efforts last session and continuing the next session will be about making it easier to build homes in Colorado, especially the kind of homes that you might call starter homes that first-time homeowners can buy, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. That's what we have a severe shortage of in our state.
During last year's special session, yes, this is happening 2 years in a row. Last year's special session saw Colorado lawmakers pass some relief that applied to renters. A bill provided $30 million in rental assistance for households facing eviction. The Democratic National Convention may be done, but we are not done with our in-depth look at the policy impact a President Kamala Harris would have on Colorado. Harris's background ahead of being vice president and a U.S. senator is being a prosecutor, San Francisco District Attorney and California Attorney General. Crime is a top issue for many voters. Tonight, we conclude Decision 2024, the stakes for Colorado. Our Kelly Renke looks at where Harris stands on criminal justice issues.
Even as violent crime goes down nationwide, including Colorado, it's still a flashpoint in this presidential campaign. Kamala Harris is using her experience as a prosecutor to take on her opponent.
So hear me, Detroit, when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
She's contrasting her record as a district attorney and attorney general in California to Donald Trump, who's convicted of felony crimes. Whether her time in a courtroom is an asset depends on who you ask.
That Kamala Harris believes in investing in law enforcement, in investing in community safety, and making sure that our whole criminal justice system works better.
Colorado's Democratic Attorney General Phil Weiser believes Harris will support federal funding that will make our state safer. Her policies in California may give us an idea of the issues she would take on in the White House. Harris has described herself as a progressive prosecutor who punished crime and helped nonviolent offenders turn their lives around.
It's clear that she cares a lot about victims. That's something that has come through. And she wants to make sure the criminal justice system works for everyone.
But her opponents are blaming current crime in San Francisco on her tenure as a district attorney. While she touted an increase in felony convictions, some worry a Harris presidency won't be tough enough on crime.
When you don't take a firm stance on national security issues, border control issues, the trickle down or the trickle up effects, if you will, impact our communities quite heavily.
Sheriff Steve Reams in Weld County worries recruiting would be tougher with Harris in office. As a senator, Harris introduced legislation in 2020 to hold police accountable, like collecting data on misconduct. Sheriff Reams thinks it's already too hard to be a cop in Colorado.
If you apply that same mindset at a national level or a federal level, it compounds the issue here locally, tenfold.
To see how a president will impact crime in Colorado, you have to follow the money. A criminal justice professor at MSU has an idea of funding Harris would support based on her history in California.
I could see Vice President Harris taking money and earmarking it for reentry, because we don't have money for reentry.
Denise Mauder is talking about Harris's reentry program as a DA, an alternative to jail for first-time nonviolent offenders.
And I think she's really going to focus on the underlying causes of crime and how we can keep that from kind of escalating.
Critics don't label Harris as a tough-on-crime top cop. Some say her stances on reform are mixed. Despite that, it's experience Harris is leaning into.
In this campaign, I proudly put my record against his any day of the week.
For Next, I'm Kelly Renke.
You can watch or read our entire series, Decision 2024, The Stakes for Colorado, on the next section of 9news.com. There you'll also find the 5 in-depth reports we did on former President Trump's policies during the Republican National Convention. We want to say a quick thank you for all you've done this week to help teachers in Denver buy the materials they need for their classrooms without having to reach into their own pockets. Kyle's still on the road with an update on this week's Word of Thanks campaign.
Thanks for being with Next while I'm away, and thank you for what you've done for the DPS Foundation's A to Z Fund. It's classroom grants for teachers in Denver, and it's this week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign. Up to $3,000 grants to help teachers do special projects or get supplies and materials for their classes that otherwise wouldn't be in the budget. And these grants go out the door fast, within 3 weeks of when teachers apply. To join me and a bunch of other Coloradans helping make this happen, scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491. Have a great day. We'll see you next week.
We are a county that is oftentimes, including when I was in office, been very short of cash.
Convincing your boss you want a raise, that's hard enough. When the public pays your salary, getting that raise behind closed doors, well, that lacks transparency. Memory loss is a common soap opera theme. What about deja vu? As the Colorado GOP turns, is back spinning again. And good news is in the air, and it smells like barbecue. Our favorite Friday tradition, next. Public service comes with scrutiny. especially when that public service is funded by tax dollars. 2 Elbert County employees just got a big raise, quietly. Our Evan Krugel explains why those new paychecks might have to be earned by fighting a lawsuit.
The Elbert County Courthouse is a place Robert Rowland knows well.
Yes, I was a county commissioner here in Elbert County in 2013 through 2017.
A job in the small town of Kiowa that Robert says was not easy.
We are a county that is oftentimes, including when I was in office, been very short of cash.
It's why Robert was surprised to learn the county attorney and county manager had just been offered big raises without the public ever knowing.
The people have a right to expect that their business is done in full transparency. And it has to be that way. There is no other option. And in this case, we feel like that was circumvented and we can't let it stand.
Robert and 6 other Elbert County residents are now claiming county commissioners violated the state's open meeting law, designed to stop secret discussions outside of the public view. Contracts shared with 9 News by the group's attorney show the county attorney and county manager now make $220,000 after previously making around $140K. Those 2 contracts were signed earlier this year, but Robert says they weren't discussed in public until months later, after he raised concerns.
That's what my research showed.
The person chosen by commissioners to explain the decision at a July meeting, County Attorney Bart Greer. Yes, one of the 2 people who just received a raise.
No, I don't believe that there is something that was missed.
County commissioners defended the decision, saying the salaries are in line with neighboring counties and were necessary to retain workers. They also argue the new contracts were a personnel matter and not something that had to be shared with the public.
It seems like the desire is that this be done, that contracts and final compensation be approved in a formal public meeting like we're having now. So I think that it would be the right thing to do.
Now, moments after that announcement, the commission voted to publicly approve those contracts, despite the fact that they've already been paying them out. Now, we did reach out to all 3 commissioners. Chairman Chris Richardson says their attorneys are reviewing the letter they got. He says at this point, an interview on the topic would be, quote, premature. Marshall, they have until September 4th to respond to that letter.
Not premature to give a raise before talking about it with the public, premature to talk about it when asked about it by a journalist.
Exactly, and in that July 24th meeting, he said anyone with questions on this should come to us directly. We tried, unfortunately, they weren't available.
It's good to know that when you get caught with your hand in the cookie jar, it's like, I don't think, no, here, we'll make it right now.
Yeah.
Nothing was wrong.
And we'll certainly follow up, right? September 4th is when they have to respond to that letter by. Hopefully, we'll get that interview there.
Yeah, the threat of a lawsuit might give us some clarity.
We'll see.
Thank you, Evan.
You bet.
Stop me if you've heard this before. Members of the Colorado Republican Party will try to remove their leader at a meeting that is not being recognized by party leaders. Oh, yeah, you've heard that before. But this, I tell you, is not a midsummer rerun. It's the latest cliffhanger, a mini episode of As the Colorado GOP Turns. Watkins will finally have his meeting to try to hold a vote to remove Dave Williams as chair of the Republican Party tomorrow at a church in Brighton. This meeting was supposed to happen last month, but Williams went to court and got a judge to issue a temporary restraining order preventing the meeting. Earlier this month, the judge determined he issued the restraining order prematurely and removed it, allowing for tomorrow's meeting to happen. But in a not-so-surprise plot twist, Colorado GOP leadership sent out an email to party members again saying tomorrow's meeting is fake and that the party will only respect the results from a real meeting called by party leadership 1 week from tomorrow, which means there will have to be another episode of As the Colorado GOP Turns.
Finally, Friday, it has been an active week of weather, but the plume of tropical moisture coming into Colorado from the southwest is a bit thinner. So that means isolated storms tonight, but not an entirely dry weekend. There's still enough moisture that we may be tracking a couple of widely scattered storms both Saturday afternoon and Sunday when the Broncos play. We are also watching the burn scars. We've had rain over some of those recent scars almost every day this week. But the severe weather threat as we move into the rest of this evening, we're just a level 1 1 out of 5 for Denver and northeastern Colorado, as well as the western slope. So we're going to see isolated storms in Denver, scattered heavier showers moving from the southwest to the northeast in the central and southern mountains. And then we do this all over again tomorrow. Temperatures this evening comfortable, will be in the 60s. I think overnight temperatures will be extremely mild and then bouncing right back into the low 90s tomorrow. About 30% chance of rain on Saturday and Sunday from afternoon storms. A little drier Monday, and then a string of mild, dry days leading us to the coolest day of the week, and that's next Thursday. Some of the models have highs in the 70s.
What more American thing than a bunch of brothers coming together, cooking barbecue over fire?
Our favorite Friday question, now with a side of barbecue. We're back with your good news next. The Meat Sweats and Pitmasters. If those are not band names, they should be. We heard all about Meat Sweats and Pitmasters as we searched for good news at the Denver Barbecue Festival at Civic Center Park. Obviously a really tough gig for photojournalist Tom Cole.
Good news this Friday and Saturday.
Okay. All right. Huge festival. They do this once a year, Barbecue Fest. There's 12 barbecue shops represented from all over the nation.
My good news is Not Just Q has just touched down in Denver for Q Barbecue Fest. And we're bringing a little Texas, we're bringing a little funk, and bringing a little style. So hey, I hope it's good news to you.
We have some good news. Our daughter's 18, starting her senior year, and she just announced that her top choice is Colorado Boulder. We're from Florida, so we love to come out here and visit. We're happy that she's interested in Colorado, and we'll see where life takes her.
My good news today is a big shout out to Hunter Murphy for continuing on his cancer battle. He got bone cancer. He's 11 years old, and he just had from about mid-thigh to mid-shin removed of his bone, and that was 95% clear, and he's continuing his small fight with chemo here for the next couple of months, but he's doing great and almost cancer-free.
My good news is a friend of mine and I sat at a bar, got some notes on a bar napkin, and said, let's do barbecue. I bet we could sell it. Now we have 4 stores, well over 100 employees.
My good news today is that I woke up today and I'm at the Denver Barbecue Fest.
And we're going to make a whole bunch of people happy today. That's good news.
And yet I only saw popsicles and no barbecue in the newsroom today. We're hot with your feedback next. You know that schadenfreude feeling when you laugh at the expense of someone else? That's the parking lot rock. It's back and it's bigger than ever. A few weeks ago, we told you about the boulder that sprouted up outside the Castle Rock Sprouts, causing unsuspecting drivers to high center in their cars over several days. Convertibles, SUVs, trucks, the rock does not discriminate. Well, fans of the rock were dismayed when it was removed earlier this week. But don't worry, a new parking lot rock, at least triple the size, has taken its place. So let's go through this. Drivers first hit the curb, causing a rock to be placed there, which drivers kept hitting. Perhaps it's the driver behavior or the design of the parking lot that's concerning more than the size of the rock. We'll keep monitoring the situation and keep us updated at next@9news.com. I don't know why I dress like this, just felt like changing it up for feedback. By the way, this is because no free advertising on the show. The feedback tonight, while we're knocking on Kyle, someone texted us, why is Kyle not there tonight? Lester Holt made it back to NBC News. You're stuck with me next time also.